Hello, everybody. Welcome back to ELF Live. I am your sad, lonely host tonight, guys. As you can tell, our co-host Silas Nasita is gone. He has abandoned me in the night. We have no idea where he is. So I am here by myself, and I will be your lone host. So chat, join me and help me get through this show as we talk about ELF football. I'm just kidding. We know where Silas is. He's on an airplane. And unfortunately could not make it today. I'm checking out the chat right now. You guys got me? Chat's got me. I'm not alone. You'll help me out? Guys, you guys are great. Danny Mitchell, shout out Quiver. I appreciate that, man. I like your answer today, as always. So even though we're just a solo host tonight, we're gonna have a good show. We've got 3 exciting guests. One of them, very special guest, is sitting on my couch right there, about 7 feet off camera. We'll be talking to him a little bit later. So we've got some exciting stuff today with ELF Live. And chat, I appreciate you being here, and let's host this show together. Okay, I'm reading a lot of chats today. It's going to be Nauf in the chat. So let's get through it. So guys, enough chit chat. Let's start off with segment number 1. We've got the news. Everybody saw, we talked about it last week. We had Yoko on the show, and there was the big announcement, first ever ELF international game. We left you with the suspense. Where's it going to be? Who's going to be playing in it? And we got announced yesterday that it's going to be played in Šibenik, Croatia, and it's going to be the new franchise, the Madrid Bravos, playing against our producer Maxie's favorite team, the Hamburg Sea Devils. It's gonna be really big. It's gonna be a week 14 matchup. It's gonna be a huge party, kind of a celebration of football. Chat, let me know what you guys think about this. What you think about the location and the teams. Servos from Munich, great game in Croatia. There we go. Let's leave a heart for lonely now. Thanks, Maxie. I appreciate that. So that's big. The stadium's gonna hold 8,000 people after renovations, and we've got a kind of cool announcement video that we're going to show you guys right here. Maybe you saw it on social media. Let's roll the tape, Maxie. There we go. The Madrid Bravos coming out with a big, nice announcement video right there. And if you guys watch Game of Thrones, the city Šibenik actually was a filming location for Game of Thrones. It's the Bravos put it there in their announcement. I think it was season 5, episode 9. Great promo. There we go. Yeah, you guys. So let me know what you think of that in the chat. So that's pretty legit. For you guys who watch Game of Thrones, Bravos is actually a location. So kind of funny there. Now we've got a couple other statements from this announcement of the international game. Let's show you guys the statement from our CEO, Jelko, what he had to say about the international game.
Announced our first international game in Šibenik. Sea Devils will have their home game here against Madrid Bravos. So
we're getting spammed in the chat.
It will be a great spectacle and a great party here in Šibenik on the 24th of August. We are all happy. We are all warm welcomed here by government, by the region, by the stadium owners and everything. So happy to be here in August and celebrate a big party in Šibenik.
There we go. Okay, nice. Checking out the chat here. Well, this is from Raider MXD. Well, as the owner of the ELF also happens to own the soccer club in Schibbeneck, that's probably the cheapest solution to Hamburg's stadium issue. It's an interesting point there. Yeah, that's a kind of a good move there, and the ability to get the stadium for cheap. That's going to be pretty awesome. Let's see. From a football perspective, Schibbeneck doesn't move the needle. Tiny stadium in a smallish town. Yeah, I can understand that, but I also think that just being able to do a game internationally like this in kind of what you could describe as like a vacation town. Obviously, we saw this really cool promo from the Bravos. There's great marketing angles here. And so I know a lot of people want it to be in like Amsterdam or London. Obviously, with Brexit, something in London is very, very difficult. But football fan right there, perfect to plan a vacation there. So that's what I think it's going to really be. It'll be a real celebration of football. We've also got a statement from Jaime, the Bravos general manager, from all of the media stuff this week, which we will play for you right now.
We're quite happy to be invited to the first ever international game of the ELF here at Sievenik, what would be the second home of Hamburg as local team. So we're happy. We're just very excited to pack all the stadium here for all the fans of American football here in Croatia, and we expect to see you all there and give you a great show and football experience.
Yep, there we go. So that was Jaime, the general manager of the Bravos. Just seeing what you guys are saying. It opens up, this is from Fourth Down Fiasco, opens up the opportunity to bring in a Croatian team in the future. JK445, I feel like there's some bigger markets the league should target than Croatia. I think that's certainly a fair point, but also just due to the connections that Jelko has and the fact that the league can get this stadium for cheap or for free, I think it would be stupid to pass up on an opportunity like this. I mean, if you're going to go do this game somewhere else in Amsterdam or in London, it would be a huge money sink. And to be able to have a huge aspect of it paid for or be cheap, that's a great benefit to the ELF. So while there are probably some more attractive markets that people could think of, I think that this is going to be a nice marketing situation for the league. Okay. Raider MXD. Schibbeneck has a beautiful old town, and there are many tourists, but I doubt that many of them will take time out of their day to watch a football game. And then CJEC, the risk is much lower this way. They just must make sure the market's right. So that's kind of the news that we've got here from the international game. It's going to be week 14, like we said. Bravos versus the Hamburg Sea Devils. Maxi, I hope that the Sea Devils are having a better year than last year and are maybe they're in a position to be getting in the playoffs. I can't say that with a straight face. I'm sorry. But the Bravos, actually, we just saw their GM, Jaime, he secure the playoffs on vacation. Maxie just sent me this message here in the chat. And we'll see about that. We'll see about that, Maxie. The Madrid Bravos are doing a great job. I mean, we've talked about them week by week. Silas and I have about all the signings that they're having. I actually have just off the record talked to a signee that has not been announced yet, and just hearing some of the behind the scenes stuff that the Madrid Bravos got going on. This is a good franchise. They're doing it right. So exciting stuff for the European League of Football, the international game, the first ever international game. And guys, just remember, this is the start of this league. I know a lot of people like to criticize things, and there are people critical of the league doing this in Croatia. And here's the thing. I'm not a part of the league. I'm separate. Even though this is an ELF show, I can be critical of the league as well. But I think that this is a very smart move to take advantage of this opportunity. It's going to be a huge celebration of football in Europe. This league is in year 4. It's already doing cool stuff like this. We saw what these big games can be like with the championship game and some of these playoff games. So exciting stuff for the ELF international game, the first ever. So that was our big news this week. Now we will, you guys can check the, so there we go. You guys are getting the tickets in the chat right there. Raider MX, before we move on, are there any news regarding the Surge and their rumored game in the big stadium in Hoffenheim? So you've heard the rumors. Interesting. Low risk, high reward. That's what you're saying here in the chat. All right, so we're moving on anyway to our signing center, guys. course, we do it every week. We've got the big signings. And to start it off, we've got a couple D linemen, both for the Surge, the Stuttgart Surge, a team that's I have no special connections to. The first one is Leander Stratman. Okay. He is a defensive lineman. He has American college experience. He's 24 years old. He started playing football in Germany in 2013. He had a year of high school football experience, spent a year at New Mexico Military Institute, and then he had a little bit of college experience in Canada at Concordia University. This is just big. Anytime a team, and we talk about this all the time, a team can get homegrown guys that have experience in the States, get some of this good experience in the States, and then come back to Germany. And again, he's not going to count as an A or an E. He's a homegrown player. So that's a really big signing for the Surge. But he's not the only Surge D lineman with American experience to be announced this week. Surge having a big week. The second one that we've got is Neville Kruger. Also a defense. Look at him there with those chains. There you go. That's what you want a defensive lineman to be looking like, and wearing a chain around his neck. 23 years old. He started playing football in 2015. So he played in Dickinson College. Dickinson College. It's a Division III school. He was named the Rookie of the Year, and he was an all-conference selection 3 times, which is legit. So this isn't just a guy that was on a college roster. This is a guy that contributed and was good enough to be named an all-league selection 3 times. And here, what are you guys saying here in the chat? He's from Hamburg. Why didn't the Sea Devils get him? That's just, that's Coach Jordan Neuman's recruiting right there. Just probably got out-recruited. The defense for the Surge just might outshine the offense this year. They signed a brick wall with those guys. Yeah, so those are 2 big signings for the Surge. The Surge are having what they're calling College Week. So these are 2 of the signings that they have so far. They've got 2 more coming this week. All guys that played in the United States and got some college experience. Surge want another opportunity to get that trophy. Yeah, they sure do. Couple more things, Surge getting strong at D-line. Hennessy's coming back. They might be back to the ELF championship game. You hear that, Coach Neumann? Oh, I spoiled it. Okay. Enough about the Surge D lineman. We're moving on a little bit to the Barcelona Dragons. The Dragons have signed veteran linebacker Alex Posito. This is a guy who has spent the last 3 seasons with the Dragons. This is good for the Dragons. I mean, we've heard Madrid's getting a lot of the attention, kind of a lot of the shine and buzz and hype, I would say, down in Spain, especially compared to the Dragons. And so this is good. This is a nice, solid signing. He's the Dragons' all-time tackling leader in the ELF. He's got 189 total tackles. So legit guy, 32 years old. He's older than me. So it's, it's pretty old. And that's pretty solid for them. Some good news for Barcelona. Then moving on down south, we've got some news out of Italy for the Milano Seamen. Murillo Machado. That is a strong name. That is a very strong name. He's 31 years old. He's from Brazil. He played football in Brazil, Germany, and France. Played for the Wrocław Panthers last year. He was actually an ELF All-Star. So this is a great signing for the Milano Seamen. Fun fact, there's 4 people on the Milano Seamen from Brazil. 3 of them are O-linemen. So damn near, I guess 60% of the Milan O-line will be coming from Brazil. Interesting fun fact. So that's a good big signing, former ELF All-Star. There you go, Milan. Moving on, we've got this guy. He was memed all week. Wide receiver for the Munich Ravens, Sven Bayrich. Hopefully, I know I butcher your name. Sorry, Sven. He's arguably the best homegrown wide receiver playing in the GFL last season. So he's from Nuremberg. He's 25 years old. Played for the Nuremberg Rams before, and then last year for the Ingolstadt Dukes. Really good season, 75 catches, 1,100 yards, and 11 touchdowns. He was nominated for the German national team. So this is a really, really solid signing for them. A good homegrown player, a guy making the leap from the GFL to the ELF. This seems to be happening more and more with players that stand out in one of these other leagues, a domestic national league, and then getting the opportunity to get signed and play in the ELF, which is huge. So he'll be catching balls from old Chad Jeffries next year. Then we've got some positive news from the East for the Prague Lions. Tyrese Johnson-Fisher, he is back in the ELF. Previously, he's played for the Istanbul Rams. He's going to be joining the Prague Lions. 24 years old. He is the British native. He's from London. He's a former rugby player for England and the Jamaican national team. And he was actually invited to the Under Armour All-America game without ever playing football, which is an insane achievement right there. So he played for the Rebels in the GFL last year, and he'll be making the jump to the ELF as well. So that is what we've got here in the signings chat. He looks like Robin Wilczek. Yeah, that's a good one. Prague is also moving in the right direction. Yeah. I'm with you guys right there. Yeah, they're moving in the right direction. Good for Prague. We're happy about that. All right, guys, so that's our signing center this week. And we are going to go to a quick commercial break, and then we have got some more ELF Live for you. Let's head to a commercial.
Sí, ¿vos de qué parte sos?
Yo de aquí, de la ciudad.
Ah, mira.
All right, we are back. And guys, if you are interested in the new Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, you can order it now on the website of our sponsor, Euronics. Check the chat. You can get it now. Nice new phone there. And just catching up, okay, on some of the chat. All right, guys. So now we're going to head to the community corner. ELF asked you guys on social media, on Instagram, on all the social medias, what your travel plans for 2024 are. And let's see what you had to say. 2024 travel plans. Let's see. And if you guys are traveling, let me know in the chat right here. So what do we got first? Ryan Fire at Galaxy off of my. So Sonny, he's going to go to a ton of games. Surge at Ravens in Nuremberg in the big stadium. That'll be really, really cool. That's like I said, that's a rivalry that's really building, and going to be playing in this big. I'm excited about that game. Surge at guards. They go to a lot of Surge games. Surge at Raiders at Innsbruck. All Surge home games whenever they take place. There we go, Sonny. All right. Who else do we have? Rufus, Rovslaw, Nuremberg. Can't even read that. It's okay. Schalke, maybe some Prague or Berlin games. There you go. Getting a little further out east there. That Nuremberg game, guys. I think if you get the chance, that's going to be one for the season. It'll be awesome. Not really sure yet. Olti, not really sure. Paris, Madrid, or Rovslaw would be sweet. Mark says every Surge home game, the championship game, and maybe the Nuremberg game. We're getting a lot of people that are wanting to go to Surge games. This is good. Surge did a really, really legit thing last year, turning that whole thing around. And actually, if you guys saw, there was a trailer release, a documentary series that covered the Surge last year that's going to be released online that you guys. Milkman 75, all Fire games and Fire away in Cologne, Madrid, and Frankfurt, maybe. Fire home games are absolutely awesome. Like we know this, they've kind of set the standard in the ELF of what a franchise can be in Europe. And these home games, they really invest a lot into the fan experience, into everything around the game, as well as everything on the field. So yeah, Fire home games, those are pretty legit. Fourth down. Okay. All right, guys. So those are some of the spots that you guys said that you're going to be traveling to this year. If you get a chance to go to ELF games live, they're really fun, especially with some of these teams that are really doing it right. I can highly recommend a Surge home game. They're pretty electric. All right, guys. So we are actually going to be moving on now to an interview with the managing director of 2-in-1, the Elite Shoulder Pad Company. Yoko Schuster. Yoko, welcome to the show. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. So, Yoko, first of all, can you just tell us a little bit about 2-in-1 shoulder pads? What is so special about this product?
Sure. So what's unique about 2-in-1 is if you have a traditional shoulder pad, it's usually made of one big plastic piece. And as the name implies, you have two pieces. So the 2-in-1 shoulder pad is made of a compression vest that fits to you like a second skin. And then you put on a hard shell that is either made of polyethylene or carbon fiber. So you have these two versions. And the biggest advantage, I would say, of these shoulder pads are that you can move pretty freely as a player, which is a nice thing to have. And you have double protection because you have the vest underneath. And you can put the shell on top. You can also go to a training without the shell. So you have a lot of advantages with this pad. And yeah, we get a lot of positive feedback.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of it. I've seen a lot of positive feedback, whether it's from my co-host Silas. I mean, he did a little video with you guys, I think, or Jacob Sullivan wears them. I saw a video from him. I like these. I wish that I had these back when I was playing. They seem very, very legit, light and comfortable, but also protective. Yoko, can you tell me a little bit how you ended up in this position as the managing director for American football equipment? Did you ever did you expect to end up here?
No, I didn't. That's for sure. So my father founded this company 20 years ago. Not the 2-in-1, but a business dealing with American football equipment. So our main business used to be importing US brands to Europe and distributing US products in Europe. That was our core business. And then I joined the company 6 years ago. And that's also about the time where we started with the 2-in-1. And for me, it was kind of a change. I was in the corporate world before, and I've always been informed or watched my father and his colleague building up this business. And I always felt connected to the sports business more than what I was doing then. And I wanted to give it a try. That was actually how I ended up in the company of my father. And family business is always something special, right? So you have to try if it works. And it did. It worked. And not only did it work, but I feel really blessed and thankful to be in an environment where you meet so many inspiring people and people who are passionate about what they do. And I think this is a great work environment. It's just great to be in this environment.
Yoko, hey, sorry, I am back. Had a little internet problems there, but I heard everything you said. It's awesome, yeah, that it's a family business, that your father started this, and now that you're stepping in here. So you guys have now a partnership with the ELF. Why is this the right business move for you guys to begin a partnership with the European League of Football?
Well, obviously, the ELF is the most professional league in Europe. So advertisement-wise, it's a good move for us to be seen more because we're still very new in the football business and not so well known, I would say. So we can use a lot of advertisement, and yeah, I think it's a very good thing we have going there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're seeing kind of the growth. I've been involved in football in Europe for 8 years or so now, and we're seeing it really take off, especially in these last few years since the European League of Football has launched and really started to explode here. So it's kind of the perfect timing to be getting a partnership there. I want to ask you just a little bit about you personally, because you studied economics and Japanese studies, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And yeah, so I mean, I know this is a family business, but are you able to apply anything like into the job that you're doing now, or is this just a whole new thing that you had to just learn on the job?
I would say usually if you go to university, you're not specialized in anything. And especially what I studied, economic was my minor. So my major was Japanese studies and also geography. I would say practically there is not a lot what you can really use in the business world, but it's always good to have a broad education. I think that helps you. And also, for me, it was always helpful to deal with different cultures. That's also what I studied. So, yeah, it's nice to be in an international environment, and for sure, the studies have helped me a lot.
Yeah, that's a cool thing also about this league is that it is an international league. I mean, we've got teams in many different countries, different cultures, different languages, and yeah, it's just kind of cool to see all of that coming together. Yoko, thank you so much for coming on the show today and kind of giving us a little info about 2-in-1 shoulder pads. I mean, I've seen everyone that I know that has worn them loves them and raves about them. So if you're in the business for shoulder pads, 2-in-1 is the way to go.
Thank you.
All right, there we go. So that was Yoko Schuster, who, like we said, is the managing director for 2-in-1 shoulder pads. If Silas was here, he'd be raving about those shoulder pads. I know he would. Hey guys, I see you. Yeah, I disappeared there for a little bit, but I'm back now, chat. I am back, and now we have got a very special interview, one that I mentioned earlier, and this is actually a live interview. So we're going to adjust our camera a little bit here. We're going to bring on our very special guest. Here we go. Make sure he's camera ready. Coach Jordan Neuman, the Stuttgart SUurge, head coach of the Surge. What's going on, Coach? How you doing?
What's going on, Nick? Thanks for having me on your show.
We are going to have to share a microphone, unfortunately, but we'll just pass it back and forth a little bit. So, Coach, obviously, really successful year last year by a lot of metrics. Can you just talk about a little bit of quick overview of the year as a whole? What was the task that you had to undertake to bring the Surge all the way to the point that they're at now?
Yeah, I think one of the main thing was you underestimate just learning the landscape of the league, like the rules, how recruiting works, how signing people work, just so many things. Like that was one of the big things that I learned pretty quickly that I had to figure out. And then just you're building a team as fast as you possibly can, coaches, players, everything. And then just the fact that, we had to very quickly put together a team from many different aspects. You had to take some guys, obviously guys come from Schrebisch Hall with me here. You had a good amount of Stuttgart SUurge players that was left over. And then you had to go find 35 to 40 more players elsewhere and then build them and create a culture. And that's probably the end effect that I think was probably the thing that took us to a lot of success is we were able to build a culture pretty quickly and we were able to get guys to buy into that culture.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like the culture, and I got to see it firsthand, what you guys were doing. I mean, when you started last, I guess it was January, February, and basically building all of this from the ground up and seeing you guys end up at the championship game was really an awesome thing. I mean, I think that people thought that, all right, the Surge are going to be better in this next year. But I don't think that so many people thought, oh, the Surge are going to be playing the Rhine Fire in the championship game. So that was absolutely huge. But I know you're focused on looking forward. Like that was a great season last year, but you're focused on building for next year. Can you talk a little bit about how it's been going this offseason since the championship game, recruiting wise, and looking forward to 2024?
Yeah, so the main focus in the offseason was to bring these guys back, to bring the guys we had back last year. And I think we did a great job of that. I think we'll probably get about 80% of our football team back, probably 90% of our coaching staff. And what we say all the time is it's about continuity, because if you're able to bring guys back and they have a great experience with you, which is why player experience is so important for us. And if players have a great experience, they want to come back. If they come back, it creates continuity, and continuity is what creates success. So that was point one for us into the offseason. And then point two was just like any team across the league is just, let's get more talented. Let's go find where that talent is and get more talent. And I got to give a shout out to our recruiting director and Cody Pastorino, and he did an outstanding job of tracking down a lot of guys who probably weren't even necessarily on like big radars and stuff like that. And we searched every corner of Europe and we searched every corner of the US and who was out there. And it's what's given us a great opportunity to sign our talented guys back, find new talent, get an opportunity to do some things like we did this week, with having some guys coming from who's got that college experience to help us out for next year. So I'm extremely pleased. I'm extremely happy where we're at. Just at this point, it's nice to kind of settle in, let the recruiting stuff kind of settle down and start focusing more on the football side of things.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's huge. And like, I mean, we talked about just a little bit earlier, the college week, like you're getting guys, you're announcing 4 guys that have American college experience. How important is that to be able to bring some homegrown guys that have American college experience? Is that a big advantage for you guys?
It's a big advantage of the fact that they're talented football players, which is, why they're over there playing football in the first place. So that for sure is a big deal. But I say it all the time when I'm recruiting Americans and they're asking what's the competition level and stuff like. And I say all the time, hey, I've got several German players or European players who would be scholarship players in the States. They just happen to grow up here, So, the talent gap is closing more and more year after year. Europe to Americans over there. But anytime you can get a homegrown guy that's coming back with college football experience, that's obviously extremely helpful.
Quarterback, Riley Hennessy. Riley had an interesting year last year. Obviously, when he was playing quite well, but he was injured and had to miss a lot of the season. And the Surge had what I would say is pretty big quarterback adversity, playing with 3 different starting quarterbacks. Can you talk a little bit? And we had the situation where the Surge were still able to continue to improve and play well and win games. Can you talk about maintaining success while having this quarterback adversity last year and having to play with different starting quarterbacks week by week?
Yeah, I mean, that never makes it easy for sure. I would say we were fortunate in the guys we were able to bring in and how things kind of went. To start with Jan Weinreich and get him in when Riley had that injury. I mean, just such a perfect fit, came off his couch and delivered 2 out of 3 great games. We won 2 games, off of his efforts and how great he did for us. And we were so thankful for him to do that. And then, it was just kind of planned from there that, he was only going to be available for a short time. And then the fact that Kenyatta Allen was sitting there available as well was another thing that just kind of fell into our laps, and we were very lucky for, because he was a very, very talented player as well. But at the end of the day, it was clear to everybody, and everybody knew that the second Riley was fit and ready to go, he was the guy. To me, Riley's, not only one of the best quarterbacks in the league, he's one of the best football players in the league. And to get him back was a big win for us. And just kind of how it went down this offseason was pretty interesting, just because, Riley in his mind, I think was looking to kind of move on and possibly do something else. That football passion never left him, though. That was always there. And then just kind of the more, you talk to him throughout the offseason, you kind of start hearing a little bit of, a phrase here or something there that, he might not actually be done. And that's when, things kind of started getting rolling a little later in the offseason. But the fact that it's not just the fact that he's coming back, it's the fact that he was never really retired. He always had the passion and was never really done playing. It was just kind of life circumstances to see what's kind of next were intriguing for a little bit. But at the end of the game, this guy's a football player and he wants to be back on the field.
There was just a little sliver of the door open, and Coach Neuman, you were able to get Riley back on the field. There we go. A couple people just let's see what the chat's saying. The way that players and coaches stick with him says a lot about what he has going on. I won't make you comment on that, but I will comment on that. That is something that I'm so impressed with your teams. Like, I got to be a player on your teams for 6 years or whatever it was, and then I got to see what you guys did with the Surge this year, and that's a true thing, and it's something that I really admire, and that I think this is why obviously so many people are staying, and Surge are able to build off last year and springboard into 2024, which is an awesome thing, Coach. I know somebody mentioned on here in the chat the receiving trio, Geyer, Meyer, and DJ. can you talk a little bit about this group of receivers, and what, like, I mean, how great it is to have three different weapons like that. These are three guys who had 1,000-yard seasons last year. So can you talk a little bit about this weapon trio?
Yeah, I think the first thing when you think about with this trio is it's fun. You know, I think that's one of the main things. They're just fun to watch. They're fun to be around. All of them have very, very different skill sets. All of them bring very, very different things to the table. And, you know, as a coach, when you look at the end of the year and you got three guys over 1,000 yards, all of their stats pretty much almost identical to each other, it kind of shows you the balance that's spread across. So, you know, so just having them back and having all of them back together, obviously it's that continuity word again. But it's just, you know, I anticipate them having another great year, but, you know, I got to say, you know, there's several other receivers that we have coming back or we've signed new that I'm pretty excited about. And I think those three guys would tell you as well. Yeah, they're probably going to get the majority of the looks and things like that. But we got a lot of other guys who have made critical catches in critical situations and are in there doing that dirty work and blocking and helping in the run game and stuff like that. So those three guys are the headliners, but looking forward to just that entire group.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys are fun to watch. And yeah, they all have like different playing styles and have different strengths. And like, it's just interesting to see them kind of complement each other and complement what they bring to the team on the field. So it's pretty awesome to have this trio of weapons here and greats that Riley Hennessy's gonna be throwing them the ball. So going into last year, obviously the Surge were more of kind of like an underdog mentality, just because the nature of the situation. It was a rebuilding year. Obviously you guys are established now, and it's not so much of an underdog attitude from people on the outside. The Surge aren't seen as an underdog anymore. Does this affect, or in any of these attitudes, or does this affect how you're approaching the season this year, that you came in as an underdog last year and now you're kind of an established team, maybe with a little bit of a target on the back?
No, I don't think that changes anything. I think we have just an absolute hunger to be successful in Stuttgart, and I don't care if we're an underdog or a favorite or what. And that's always going to be there, that just level of competition and wanting to, because that's what I talk to our guys about all the time. This is why we're in Stuttgart, is because we want to compete at the highest level Europe has to offer. And we want an opportunity to compete for a championship, and we want to go find who are the best players, who are the best coaches, and we want to seek them out, and we want to go compete against them, because there's a lot of talent, a lot of very talented people, players, coaches, everything across this league. And we want to be on the same field as them as often as we can. And that's just kind of a hunger factor, a competition factor that we have in Stuttgart. And so whether we're underdogs or favorites or whatever the case may be going into a week-to-week basis, doesn't really matter.
There's a little bit, I don't know if we'll call it a rivalry just yet, but maybe it's building that way. Stuttgart SUurge, Munich Ravens, two Southern Germany teams, two teams that had pretty solid years last year. You guys traded games. You won one, Munich won one. And these are, two teams that are expected to have a good, solid year. And you guys are playing in the big Nuremberg arena. Can you just talk a little bit about kind of maybe having a little bit of a Southern Germany rivalry there and this big game that everyone's looking forward to?
Yeah, I think anytime you're close to each other, there's a recruiting battle. And that's really where rivalries come from for the most part, is when you, just like I said, when you're close to each other like that and you're talking to a lot of the same players and you're going after the same players and things like that, it's just kind of a natural rivalry that builds, just because of the fact that Munich is a very, very good team. And, and we had great games last year, very close, very intense games. I think that just adds to the mix of the rivalry. And I think anytime you can create those rivalries across the league, I think that's just a good thing, because, it excites both teams. It excites the fan bases. And, ultimately you hope whenever we're going against each other, you can kind of feel that atmosphere in the week leading up to it. You can feel that atmosphere with how many people you have in the stands. I would say, it's turning more and more into a rivalry thing. And, I think that's a good thing.
Just turn to the chat here a little bit. We've got a former ELF coach, offensive coordinator, ELF champion, Danny Mitchell. He said, Coach won't say it because he's one of the best, but the balance with the ball is also a sign of great offensive design and play calling. Another reason why the Surge will continue to be great. So, we got, people noticing the offensive genius of Coach Jordan Neuman, which is absolutely true. Here we go. We've got another question, Coach. Coach, tell me, what was in the mind of Harbaugh? Why didn't the Ravens run the ball more? What weird game plan was that? Do you have a comment on this, or would you like to pass?
I can't really comment on the NFL thing. But I mean, yeah, I saw it too. You never know what happened, what the game plan was going in. Maybe they saw something and they felt that was the way to go. You get into a game, you realize pretty quickly that's not how it, what you thought it was going to be or what the success you thought it was going to be by throwing instead of running. But to the details of it, it's always hard to look from the outside, know exactly what was going on or what the thought process was.
We're turning this into the Pat McAfee show now, talking about the NFL. We're soon going to have another guest on here, another special guest, and I'm not sure yet. Maxie, let me know if he's here, if he's ready for us. Still more time, Maxie says. So because we've still got a couple more minutes, Coach. Looking around league-wide, so we talked about the Surge a lot, obviously very exciting stuff going on down in Stuttgart. League-wide, as a league as a whole, are there any other teams this offseason that you think are doing a good job solidly building for 2024? Anyone you've been impressed with?
Yeah, I mean, if I was to throw one name out quickly, it's Madrid. And what they're doing with being a new team like that and seeing the players they've signed. And, I know we've looked at some of those, so we know, they're building some good talent over there. And then, instead of just naming a bunch individually, the one thing I'll say that's exciting about this league is you've probably got 6 to 8 teams that feel they have a real legit shot to go win a championship as soon as the ball gets kicked off next year. And that I think is a really good thing. I mean, you're talking about, what would that be? Almost 50% of the league probably has that feeling, and rightfully so. And then I think another great example is, the Stuttgart SUurge last year. I mean, we're undefeated. We're kind of rolling, and then we play against a Switzerland team that I don't think's won a game yet. And it just shows you better be ready to play on a week-to-week basis, or anybody can step up and beat you. So, I think that's something that's really good about the league and just kind of the competition that you're seeing weekly.
Yeah, and we had a good question here from Balu. He said the recruiting looks great. Looking at the Ravens, Rhine Fire, Panthers, Surge, etc. I expect a higher level of football in the ELF in 2024. What's your opinion on this? I mean, you just touched on this a little bit, but there's a lot of good teams. Football's getting better, and the competition is there. That week by week, really any team can have it. So, Coach, we've got a special guest here. We're gonna do a couple minute cross over here. Sorry your Lions didn't make it. They were so close. I mean, hey, sensitive subject. We're not talking about this on this show today, okay? But we appreciate the condolences. We are getting told to stall by our director, so I guess we can talk about the Lions just a couple minutes. I'm sorry, this is not planned. This is adapting on the fly. And Maxie, let us know when we're ready for Coach to come in here. Can you just give me a couple comments on the Detroit Lions? You're famously a Detroit Lions fan. Great season this year. Though after the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, that was a rough one. Great team, great storyline around it, great vibe. I was actually in the stadium for the divisional round to watch that game when they play. It's got to be top 2, top 3 stadium atmospheres in all of football. And yeah, they were close. I think they had it right there at the half. But it's one of those teams who's going to bring everybody back. It's going to bring their coaching staff back. And just they'll have that continuity for next year. And I'm sure they're just going to use that as fuel. And I expect them to be right back there next year.
There we go. Very good answer. It's a promising time for the Lions. Maxie, how we doing? We ready for Coach yet? Give me a little message. We're waiting, chat. We're waiting. Still need more time. You're getting the inside info from our behind the scenes. Still need more time. Okay, well then while we have the genius football mind sitting next to me here, let us let's ask your prediction and thoughts about the Super Bowl.
Probably that I don't want to watch it. Is
Both teams lose.
Yeah, I mean, you got obviously two really. You got Kansas City, who's probably outperformed what a lot of people thought. It goes to show you what happens when you got a great quarterback in that continuity with quarterback, head coach, and then San Francisco. I mean, when they turn it on, they're obviously as good as anybody, and creative. And that's something that's fun too. Is the Chiefs and winners? Those are as creative of offense you're going to get, and then surprisingly, Chiefs. I don't know if it's surprising or not, but their defense, I think, is top in the league or one of the tops in the leagues or something like that. So getting to see them match up with the 49ers offense and really with 49ers, are you getting the 49ers from the second half in that NFC Championship game? Or are you going to get the 49ers from the first half of that NFC Championship game? And then we'll see where it ends up.
Wise words from the one and only Coach Jordan Neuman, head coach of the Stuttgart SUurge. Now it looks like, I believe, we have got Coach Calaycay, who will be joining us, head coach of the Vienna Vikings. Let's see if our internet holds up there. Coach Calaycay, what's going on? How you doing, Coach? Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, appreciate it, guys. It's always nice to be part and involved with geniuses. And I did want to ask what happened in that Lions game to Coach Neuman, but you hit it up for me. So sorry about that, Jordan. I know that hurt.
Coach Calaycay, we're not talking about that. I'm gonna deflect that question. Coach Neuman's not gonna be answering any questions about the Lions loss. Here's what I want to do, because it's kind of hard to do a double interview here real quick. So I just want what from each of you. This is all I want, and then we're gonna go straight to you, Coach Calaycay. Each of you, I want you to tell me one thing you admire about the others' coaching style, ability, or what they bring to an organization, a football organization. Coach Calaycay, you can go first. Tell us something you admire and about Coach Neuman here.
Well, I admire the fact that he's a very humble man, and it's really cool. We become friends over the years, and we talk more than probably we should as opponents. But I admire his friendship and how he treats people. I think that's the right way to do things. There's been so many discussions on ELF Live about, the culture of football in Europe and the differences between the U.S. and I think he really represents that. And, what he brings to the table as far as, the coaching aspect of being the X's and O's part, but also the personality part, the competitiveness part of what. And, 2 years ago we were talking and I was like, hey man, you got to get in the ELF. This is where you belong. And, we had long discussions about that, and obviously he's made our league better. He's made the Stuttgart SUurge better, and made me better as a coach to go against him. So I'm looking forward to our future battles, and that'll come when time comes. But just him being a friend, being a great football mind, but also representing what American football should be like, and the goals that we have to set forward for this league, and for the players that represent it.
There we go. Awesome, Coach. All right, great answer. And Coach Neuman, you're up.
Yeah. Well, Chris and I obviously have a very close relationship. We talk, a couple times a week, and just the fact of, he's always kind of put relationships first, to be so kind of caring, let's say, as like a mentor to me, and to, when I have questions or anything like that, still be able to kind of reach out, know I can lean on him and talk to him about anything. And, I think it's got to be said that Chris has got to be, one of the, if not the most successful that's ever coached in the history of Europe. Reason he's, so long tenured at an organization like Vienna. And that's just, his players love him. They play for him. And he creates a culture that, I really learned a lot from in my time there. And, there's a reason he's had that success over a long period of time, because, guys just want to keep coming back and keep playing for him. And yeah, I mean, when you talk about European football and the history of it, I mean, you can't really talk about it without Coach Calaycay.
Fantastic. There we go. Awesome. All right, we're gonna let Coach Neuman we're gonna dismiss you. We're gonna let you go. Thank you so much for your time, Coach. Really appreciate it. So there you go. Later, Coach Neuman. Thanks for coming by.
Hey, Jordan.
Coach Neuman drove out here in Schwäbisch. Now, Coach Calaycay, I've got you here one-on-one. There we go. We can center ourselves. Okay, Coach. Appreciate you coming on the show. A fellow Oregonian.
Yeah.
There we go. Hold on here. Let me get myself rearranged back in the middle. All right, Coach. Before we start talking about the Vienna Vikings and everything this year, I do want to ask what it was like. How was it having Coach Neuman as your offensive coordinator all those years back?
A lot of good memories. You know, when he first came in, I've never seen. We talked about that today, actually. He said we were talking a little bit about fashion and you know what we need as coaches. You know, going forward instead of coming in the office in sweats and tennis shoes all day. And he goes, Coach, I still own that same suit that I came in for my first interview. I was so impressed with him. He came in, you know, he's got a full nice suit on. He walked in, just killed his interview. We hit it off, and I've never seen him in a dress shirt or a suit since that day. So, yeah, no, I mean, it's been an amazing journey, and you know, our relationship has obviously grown, but you know, being good friends and having that same competitive nature. You know, it's funny because, you know, he's a Republican, I'm a Democrat, and he's from Texas and I'm from Oregon, but we're so in sync with that, and that's the way it should be.
There we go. There we go. Everything parts of the United States represented. We got Danny Mitchell, Coach, in the chat. I don't know if you can see that. He's saying both of these men represent coaching game at the highest level. Two coaches I'll always look up to. That's pretty cool. Coach Calaycay, I mean, it's awesome that you've had kind of this impact on many coaches throughout the year, somebody like Danny and somebody like Jordan as well. Can you talk a little bit just about your coaching philosophy? What is the Calaycay coaching? What do you bring to an organization and want your teams to be like?
Well, number one, we have to have, you know, the community of you know, it's funny, Coach Mitchell's there. I mean, you could just say it's a weird deal, but with the Vikings, you know, a guy will walk in the room and say, hey, I love you. And, you know, that's just one of the things is that, you know, there's that respect factor that goes between everybody within our organization, from, you know, our management through our coaching staff and our players. You know, that's what I want. I want guys to come in here, and I want them to understand, hey, we're trying to be the best person we're going to be on the football field, off the football field, you know, as a unit, as an offense, as a defense, and as a team, you know, putting it all together. That's the goal of every coach, is to get a group of men to play together to their ultimate and to their best. So, you know, it takes hard work. You got to put in the grind. You got to have an atmosphere where guys can feel comfortable, come in. And, you know, one of my coaching philosophies is always, it's not better or not worse, it's just different. And that sums up Europe, really, in the sense is that guys come over here with certain expectations. And I always tell, you know, my American guys or my import guys, hey, you know, this isn't better or worse. Just understand it's going to be different. This is how we do things. And, you know, guys gel real quick. And we have a great group of guys here, a great group of leaders that lead the way on that.
That's awesome, Coach. And you mentioned just a little bit there about, you know, the difference kind of having American football in America and then football in Europe. There's some new kind of high profile coaches in the league this year that have really high level coaching experience in the NFL or in Division I college. And to me, sometimes these coaches will struggle when coming to Europe because they want to translate everything one-to-one, how they did at these big budget programs. Is there basically a word of advice or advice you would give to coaches coming over from the States, having only coached in the States before, to coming and coach Europe?
Well, number one, you can't generalize it, because there's been a lot of great coaches that come over to the U.S. and do an amazing job, whether they're here for 1 season or 3 seasons or 5 seasons or 20 seasons like myself. It just comes down to understanding what kind of coaching philosophy you're going to have, whether it fits in and whether that can sell to the men that you're going to be coaching in that environment. The ELF is very different than club football that we've had here over the past. So we've all had to adapt, whether that's Coach Neuman or myself, Vikings or Rhine Fire team. The Vikings have been around for 40 years, and the Rhine Fire was founded when we were founded in the ELF. So, those are two very different things. And a coach coming from the U.S., they have to be able to say, hey, this is how we're going to run things. Whether or not that works or not, sometimes it does. And I think see Coach Tom Sula come in, have great success with it, and that's okay. But your football in Europe has been around now for a long time, especially here with the Vienna Vikings. So our situation is a little bit different than some of the other franchises that were just founded.
Yeah, for sure. And the Vienna Vikings, I mean, it's just this a long-standing program with a great history and a great reputation. And obviously, Coach, you're a huge part of that, of what you guys have built and what you guys have been accomplishing. I want to go back to the 2023 season just for a little bit, to the semifinal game against the Surge. This was a very high-profile game. A lot of people talking about it. You and Jordan had coached together before, and so this was very exciting for the league. And it was a fantastic game for the fans, just kind of looking at it from an objective point of view, exactly what this league wants. Unfortunately, the Vikings, you guys did not come away with the win at the end. It was a really close game. Can you talk a little bit about this semifinal game in 2023?
Well, I mean, like you said, for the fans, it's always great to have close games and to have two teams go out there and battle like that. There was a lot of sways in that game. We had our opportunities, and very, very clearly we're on the 1 yard line and we have a 14-point swing. We're going to sneak it into the end zone and all of a sudden, boom, you're going the other way and it's 14 points, and we ended up losing by 7. There's opportunities at the end of the game too. I mean, it was a fantastic finish where we ended up going ahead, I believe with 7 minutes to go. They get the ball back, they're driving, gets to a 4th down situation. I think there was a challenge in there. I had a challenge, and I know Jordan hated that one. They get the first down and went down and scored. We got the ball back. I had a ton of confidence in our guys that we were going to go down and score and win the game. It didn't work out that way for us, but a great game. Obviously, it's a disappointment for us. We haven't lost a home game since we've been in the ELF. So our expectations are high, and they should be. We're the reigning champs. We fell a little short of that, but that's football, that's life, and we got to learn from that, and that puts a little bit of fire into our guys this year. You were one of those guys that picked the Surge to go win it all, and that's motivation for us in the future. And but that's all good. That's the way it should be. That's the way football should be. There should be teams that surprise people. I think we were a little bit of surprise last year going against Hamburg in the final. A lot of teams didn't think, oh, can they stop Glenn Tunga? And, can that defense hold up? And, all that kind of stuff. And we ended up winning the championship in our first year. So, that's great for the league. I think we've had some fantastic games in the ELF, especially in the playoff time. But, our expectations are obviously higher than that. And that's
absolutely, Coach. And sorry, I lost you there for a second.
No, it's okay. We're still
working.
Can you hear
me?
Yeah, I got you.
That's all right. That's all good. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so looking forward now. Let's look forward. 2024. Obviously, the Vikings are a team that are top notch every single year. And what can we expect from the Vienna Vikings for 2024? What are your feelings for this season?
Well, I mean, it doesn't change a whole lot in that sense, but what does change is that's what makes the league exciting, is that you never know which team is going to be coming out of which conference. And so we're going in preparing and we're trying to get better at every position group. We have changes. Chris Helbig is retired. We've had some other guys retire, so we're bringing in some new bodies and some new faces. That's going to be cool. One of the things that even Jordan, I think, talked about was consistency. Being able to have our entire coaching staff back, but adding Max Sommer, the Austrian national team head coach, as our offensive coordinator and a coach that I worked with, since he was 19 years old, through the national team. We're adding him to the program. We're adding some new guys. We haven't announced everyone yet, but it's exciting time. As always, this is the preparation. This is the build up to that season, and the fans should be excited. The Vikings fans should be excited, and let's get after it this year.
There we go. And speaking of a new season and new stuff, there is a new Vikings logo releasing tomorrow. This is a little bit of a topic change here. Can you comment on the fact that there's a new logo for the Vienna Vikings?
Well, I mean, marketing, identity, all that kind of stuff. I'm a ball coach, but I understand, the need for that. I understand that we're not everyone should understand that we're not the Minnesota Vikings. We've had, the horns on our helmet and our Viking head for a long time, but change is part of life, and change is one of those things that, I don't worry about it too much. We know how to adapt. You got to adapt, you got to innovate, and then you got to execute. And, those types of things, it's going to be hard. It's hard for some people to accept certain things. In my mind, it's exciting. It's exciting to have something new, to have something fresh, to have, some new motivational stuff for our guys, and that's a cool thing. And I think that every season we knew who was going to win, if we knew the Chiefs are going to win this, Super Bowl, then everybody would be like, okay, but maybe the 49ers win. I hope not. The Seattle Seahawks, you're an Oregon guy, Pacific Northwest. Hopefully we can get the Seahawks back in the Super Bowl.
There we go, Coach. I like from taking something that really on the surface is so trivial, like a logo, really, and you just drop some words of wisdom on it that, change is a part of life. This is something you have to be able to adapt to. This applies to football on and off the field. This is some good stuff. The good stuff, Coach. I love hearing this type of wisdom.
Well, I mean, you can let things control you, and you can listen to those outside voices or whatnot, but really, it's the guy standing next to you in the trenches. I mean, all those things they're outside noise. If people want to be negative, they can be negative. That's okay. I'm good with that. You be negative, you're gonna have your own opinion, but that's not gonna change my stance of what this this logo means for us or who we are. We know who we are, and we know what we need to do. We know what we need to get after. And we're still purple and gold. We're still the Vikings, and the 2000 season is right before us. So we're going to focus on those things and focus on some positivity. I think we need more of that in this world.
Absolutely, Coach. Coach, thank you so much joining us on the show here tonight. I mean, I know we got to meet each other one time in person, but I've heard so much about you, so many good things from many different people over the years, just in my time here in European football. And I really respect and admire what you're doing in Vienna, not just for Vienna and for the Vikings, but for football in Europe. So thank you for that.
Hey, Nick, I appreciate you. I'm just sad Silas isn't here. I was hoping he was going to come fire at me. I mean, this is easy. You're throwing softballs for me here. I need some Silas to get after it. So maybe we'll do this again sometime.
Yeah, we'll have to do that again. I'll give you the softball ones, and Silas throws the curveballs. That's our.
There we go. You just gotta be patient, knock it out of the park.
There we go. No, more wisdom. Look at that.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. Guys. Thanks so much for joining us on the show. See you later.
Take care.
All right, guys. So they're two of the best premier coaches, great guys in the ELF. Chris Calaycay of the Vienna Vikings, Jordan Neuman of the Stuttgart SUurge. That's kind of the cool thing about these coaches. Obviously, not just talented football coaches, X's and O's on the field, but you see how these guys talk, how they carry themselves, how sharp and smart and wise they are. And it's clear like these things really contribute to the success that they have on the field. And when you think about it, I mean, a football coach is somebody who's leading a group of young men and older men too, other coaches. And so the leadership qualities that these guys have, I really admire it. And these are two of the guys that are doing a great job in the league. So guys, that is going to wrap things up for our ELF Live episode tonight. Solo episode. So chat, I appreciate you guys sticking around with us and helping me out, helping me host the show tonight by myself. Silas, hope you come back next week so we can host again, so you can throw some curveball questions at our guests. I like that. I'll throw the softballs, you throw the curveballs. All right, guys, that's going to be all for today. Thanks for sticking with us and watching on ELF Live. We will see you next week.